Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you are fine and enjoying Ramzan by keeping your rozas. I am Professor Dr. Zora Nazir Kiani from the Physics Department of Lahore College for Women, University Lahore. I am teaching you the MS course Semiconductor Electronic Devices, and today is our next topic of integrated circuit. This is next and last topic of this chapter, that is the ultra large scale integration. Now they are divided into two components, that is logic circuits and the memory devices. So initially briefly I will discuss that what is ultra large scale integration, and then we'll discuss a different two classifications. Short for Ultra Large Scale Integration, ULSI is an integrated circuit designed or introduced in 1984 with the support for over thousand transistors and 100,000 logic gates. ULSI was designed to provide the greatest possible computational power from the smallest form factor of microchip or microprocessor die. This was achieved by embedding and integrating integrated circuits, which were formed with transistor and logic gates. The close placement in design architecture enabled fast resolution of tasks and processes. However, even though very large scale integration VLSI now contains more than 1 million of transistors, any IC or microchip with more than 1 million transistors is considered as ultra large scale integration, that is ULSI implementation. So ultra large scale integration contains more than 1 million electronic component per chip. The Intel 486 and premium microprocessor, for example, use ULSI technology. This lies the line between the very large scale integration and ultra large scale integration is WOC. Basically, ultra large scale integration technology moves toward the integrated circuit technology, which move to the electronic component and equipment, and then it leads to the electronic technology based system, that is information technologies and magnetic technologies, medical technologies, etc. Integrated circuits are classified by number of gates. That is very large scale integration, that is VLSI, in which contains microprocessors, FPGA, application specific integrated circuit, and several thousand gates or more. An ultra large scale integration contains memory microprocessors, more than 10 raised per 9 transistor, and the cost of wiring, designing and maintaining of digital system is lower when large scale integration circuit and very large scale integration functions are used. Ultra large scale integration technology is used for the development of true artificial intelligence, development of natural language processing, and advancement in parallel processing. In the early development of integrated circuit, it was felt that the inevitable defects that occur in processing would prevent the fabrication of device containing more than a few dozen logic gates. One approach to integration on larger scale tried in 1960s involved fabricating many identical logic gates on a wafer, testing them and intercorrecting the good ones, a process called discretionary wiring. While the approach was being developed, however, Radical improvements were made in the device processing, which increased the yield of good chips on a wafer dramatically. By the early 1970s, it was possible to build circuits with many hundred of components per chip with reasonable yield. These improvements made discretionary wiring obsolete almost as soon as it was developed. By reducing the number of processing defects, improving the packing density of components, and increasing the wafer size, it is now possible to place millions of device elements on single chip of silicon and to obtain many perfect chips per wafer. A major factor in the development integrated circuit has been the continual reduction in size of the individual elements, that is transistors and capacitors within each circuit. Through improved design and better lithography, there has been a dramatic shrinking of the minimum feature size. For example, a transistor gate used in the device. By reducing the minimum feature size in successive steps from 0.43 to 0.3 micrometer, the die area was reduced from 135 millimeter square in the first generation design to less than 42 millimeter square in the fifth generation device, 3 times reduced almost. And obviously, more of the smaller chips can be made by batch fabrication on the wafer, and the effort in shrinking the design is rewarded in more profitable device. Successes designed using reduced features have been dramatically increased circuit complexity. For example, dynamic random access memory (DRAM) design has set the pace over the past 2 decades, in which 1 megabillion, 4 megabillion, 16 megamillion memories led to similar powers of to increase to 128 megabillion range. These all are example of ultra large scale integration. Although achievement of many powers of 2 in memory is impressive and important, other ULSI chips are important for integration of many different functions. A microprocessor includes function for a computer central processing unit along with memory control, timing and interface circuit required to perform very complex computing function. The Although the focus of this book is device, not the circuit, but it is important to look at the typical applications of MOS capacitor and FETs in semiconductor or logic and memory ULSI, which constitute about 90% of all ICs. This is clearly not a comprehensive discussion because the design and analysis circuit is large subject covered in other books and courses. So basically you have to consult your internet as well as the other books to see that what is going on in the ultra large scale integrated circuits. But please students, remember this thing that you are studying a physics subject, not engineering subject. So the basic knowledge is enough, which you are getting from this BG Street Pen book. Although for this topic which I am teaching you today, I will request you to consult other latest books, or some very good information is provided on the internet websites as well. So as I have discussed that we will discuss two things today, that is the logic circuits and the semiconductor memories. So the classification of logic family is divided into bipolar and unipolar devices. Bipolar contains saturated and non-saturated devices. And saturated devices are further divided, and similarly non-saturated devices are further divided. And your unipolar devices are divided in CMOS, PMOS, MMOS, which we have discussed in detail uh, in an article of this chapter. Now, what I think one of the most important component of your integrated circuit is semiconductor memories, uh, which are divided into two parts, RAM and ROM. RAM and ROM, and RAM is further divided into SRAM, DRAM. These are the different form of the memories, among which RAM are volatile, that is, they can keep the information or memory, while the ROM are non-volatile. A device for storing digital information that is fabricated by using integrated circuit technology. Semiconductor memory technology is an essential element of today's electronics. Indeed, as processors have become more popular and the number of microprocessor controlled items increased, so has the requirement of the semiconductor memory. With the rapid growth in the requirement for semiconductor memories, there have been number of technologies and type of memory that have been emerged. Names such as ROM, that is read-only memory, RAM, random access memory, EPROM, that is erasable, programmable, read on memories, then EP or ROM, that is electrically erasable programmable read on memory, then flash memory, then dynamic random access memory, then SRAM, STRAM, and now a new magnetoresistance random access memory can be seen in the electronic structure. Each of these has got their own advantage in area in which they may be used. So first of all, understand about RAM and ROM. As I've told you, RAM stands for random access memory and ROM is the read-only memory. RAM is volatile, its contents are lost when device is powered off. And read-on memory means non-volatile, its contents are retained even when device is powered off. Types are given. Operation is that RAM allows reading and writing while ROM only allow reading. RAM is expensive while ROM is cheap. We will concentrate our attention on random access memory, that is the read and write memory. Its access time is independent of bits location. Volatile, that is, it lose their content when power is removed. Static RAM. Memory behaves like latches or flip-flops. Data remains stored as long as power is applied. Then come the dynamic RAM, DRAM, charged or discharged capacitor. Memory lasts only for a few milliseconds. Data must be refreshed periodically by reading and rewriting. Now we will discuss them one by one in detail. That is, the static random access memory is a random access memory that retains data bits in its memory as long as power is applied. Unlike the dynamic random access memory, which stores bits in cell consisting of capacitors and transistors, SRAM does not have to be periodically refreshed. It provides faster access to data and is more expensive than DRAM. SRAM is used for computers' cache memory and as a part of random access memory digital to analog converter on a video card. SRAM, or static random access memory, is a form of semiconductor memory widely used in electronics, microprocessor, and general computing applications. This form of semiconductor memory gained its name from the fact that data is held in there in static fashion and does not need to be dynamically updated as in case of DRAM memory. While the data in the SRAM memory does not need to be refreshed dynamically, it is still volatile, meaning that when power is removed from the memory device, the data is not held and will disappear. Then comes the dynamic random access memory. It is fast-paced mode DRAM is also present, extended data out DRAM is present, burst extended data out DRAM is present, synchronous DRAM is present, rambus DRAM is present, and double data rate DRAM is present. So initially we must understand what is the dynamic random access memory, and we are not interested to discuss its different forms in details. So DRAM is a type of random access semiconductor memory that stores each bit of data in memory cell consisting of tiny capacitors and transistors, both typically based on metal oxide semiconductor technology. The capacitor can either be charged or discharged. These two states are taken to represent the two values of a bit, conventionally called 0 and 1. The electric charge on the capacitor slowly leaks off. So without invention, the data on the chip would be lost. To prevent this DRAM requires an external memory refresh circuit which periodically rewrites the data in the capacitor, restoring them to original charge. This refresh process is the defining characteristics of dynamic random access memory, in contrast to static random access memory, which does not require data to be refreshed. Unlike flash memory, DRAM is volatile memory since it loses its data quickly when power is removed. However, DRAM does not exhibit limited data remnants. Key difference between SRAM and DRAM is that SRAM is an on-chip memory whose access time is small, while DRAM is an off-chip memory which has large access time. Therefore, SRAM is faster than DRAM. In SRAM, a single block of memory requires 6 transistors, whereas DRAM needs just one transistor for a single block of memory. Now here are static difference between SRAM and DRAM is given. SRAM uses transistors to store a single bit of data, while DRAM uses a separate capacitor. SRAM does not need periodic refreshment, while DRAM needs periodic refreshment. SRAM structure is complex than DRAM, and DRAM structure is simpler than SRAM. SRAM are expensive while DRAMs are cheap. SRAMs are faster while DRAMs are slow. SRAMs are used in cache memory, DRAMs are used in main memory. Now, one important component of RAM memory is the magneto-resistive random access memory, which is the memory of nowadays, which is the devices, which is the latest device. MRAM is a memory technology that uses electron spin to store information. Basically, MRAM device is spintronics device. It is a type of non-volatile random access memory which stores data in magnetic domains. MRAM has the potential to become a universal memory, able to combine the densities of storage memory with the speed of SRAM, all the while being non-volatile and power efficient. MRAM technology is still far from realizing its potential, but as of early 2020, there are MRAM chips on the market ranging from very small ones to 1 gigabyte chips, and companies are adopting this technology for many applications. Then one more memory, flash memory, which is very popular among the students. So what is this flash memory? To which you call pin drive. This is alternately referred to as flash storage. Flash memory is a non-volatile computer memory. It was first invented by Japanese Fujio Masaoka in the early 80s while at Toshiba, and introduced in the market in 1984, which is electrically erasable program read-only memory technology. It was later developed by Intel. Flash memory is an integrated circuit that does not require continuous power to retain data, but is a bit more expensive than magnetic storage. Today, flash memory is very popular, and solid state drives are physical replacement of large hardware drives if you have the extra memory. Flash memory is widely used with car radios, cell phones, digital cameras, PDAs, solid-state drives, tablets, and printers. The picture is an example. Now you have got in your pocket definitely the um, this flash memory. Flash memory is an electronic, solid-state, non-volatile computer memory storage medium that can be electrically raised and reprogrammed. The two main types of flash memories are named after NAND and NOR logic gates. The individual flash memory cell consisting of floating gate MOSFETs, that is floating gate metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistors, exhibits internal characteristics similar to those of the corresponding gates. At this, I come to an end of this lecture. In assignment, as assignment, I want to ask question from you that name the different gates, logic gates, which are applied in different circuits. Thanks for your attention, students. See you tomorrow, inshallah, with a new lecture.